What's going on, everybody? Today I've had another brilliantly stupid idea. I'm good for those. There's a whole lot that I gotta explain to you guys and show you guys. So first, let's just start off with, let's take a look. Oh man. Looks ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as I would have thought. Now I know you guys are probably wondering, what in the world is he doing? Why? There's so many questions. There's more questions than answers. I'll give it to you guys like this. We came home and I noticed on the schedule that this weekend there was a local race here in Delaware. Now, up until this point, it was supposed to be raining and I just didn't see a high likelihood that it would happen. So we could have just fixed the car, you know, the oil leak, gotten it together, carb, nitrous, whatever, gone down there, ran 650, 660 something, whatever, and just had some fun and, you know, local race, whatever. But it initially didn't look like it was going to happen for the weather. Now that game plan has changed, the weather looks okay, so I don't know that we're entirely racing yet. But I was sitting around thinking, talking with my friends, and we were just spitballing stupid ideas. And I said, you know, I still got all this turbo stuff for the Nova that I had got for the Nova, everything. Recently, I got a new fuel pump. I've just been getting little parts and pieces to try to make upgrades and changes and plans for the future. And although the big block is still getting fixed, the big block is still coming back, and there is still a possibility, likelihood, etc., whatever, that it will end up in this car, I said, why don't I just take a stab at it? Why don't we see if I can even build a turbo kit for this thing, just because I've never built a full turbo kit to completion, fired it up, everything else, and made it work. I decided to start tackling it, but there was a couple things that I wanted to keep in mind. Number one, I wanted to build it in a way in which we would not cut the car up and cut holes in the fenders and do stuff that maybe in the future isn't going to align with the plan. Once you put a hole in the fender, that's it, the hole is there. There was one part of it. The other part of it was I wanted to do it in a way in which if I used any parts and pieces or anything from anything else, that it would be reversible. So like, I don't know if you guys can tell, this is the header from the Camaro. I plan on using that, but it's not that it can't go back on the Camaro. So I don't want to cut up all the piping and everything, because although I have the Camaro listed up for sale, which is probably gonna be a shock to some of you, but not others who know me on Facebook, we did that basically because I was like, you know, it's time to start getting ready for next year. The whole purpose of getting that car was to get through the year, and then we were gonna see what parts and pieces we could use for the other Camaro chassis and that kind of stuff. So I said, you know what, maybe it's time we just call it on that, you know, see if we can't get it sold and then get that money and start funneling that money into getting some better stuff. Listed that one up for sale, but I want to keep all the parts and pieces in case it doesn't sell, in case I'm like, hey, we need to throw it together, whatever. Plus that car didn't meet the rules of the race this weekend anyway. I said screw it. We decided to go with this wild turbo setup, which is not completed yet, but we've gotten it far enough to the point where we could take a good look at it, and it's gotten everybody excited. By everybody, I mean me and Brandon, who's been filming. But I think we should go ahead and keep moving forward with it, because we've got one of two choices. We could not move forward with this, and then at the point we're at now, all of the intake, the carb, everything is just one piece, can go on, hook up a couple things, and it's back to ready to rock. The headers, the long tubes can just go on and it'd be ready to rock. If we absolutely have to, where we feel like we need to take it racing this weekend, we can do that. We can fix the, you know, the oil leak issue in the rear and whatever. But right now, I think I'd almost rather continue with this, because although This may not be the best setup in the world, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be capable of more power, and with the rear gear we currently have in the car, it's going to work a little bit better with turbo versus nitrous and that kind of stuff. Screw it. Let's just do it. Let's have some fun. I think this would also probably work better in like a dig or die situation or some of the back half tracks and stuff, which I think this is better for than the Camaro is. There's one combination I've always wanted in this car that I've wanted from the start. The very start, as soon as I owned this Nova and we started working on it and I LS swapped it, the one thing I always wanted to do was have a turbo LS, you know, Nova, and we haven't had it yet. So we're gonna have it now, at least I think, I hope. But there's also been some thought process behind this. I know it looks ridiculous, but if you guys notice, where the weight of the turbo is, the majority of the weight, the heavy weight, is behind the center line of the front wheels. That's on purpose. That was thought about. The turbo is high up. That's for a number of reasons. Here, we can just do an exhaust out here. We can do cold side up here. We can run all this stuff without a hood, and it doesn't require any holes in fenders, any excessive, I mean, there's still going to be a bunch of fab work, but nothing crazy wild fab work that's going to take forever, you know, take weeks and weeks and weeks. I can do something that I've always wanted to do to my Nova, which is have a massive 80 millimeter sitting here, which will probably end up being an 88 at some point, but the 80 and the 88 are the same frame, everything, just the center section is different. There's some thought process about having the weight up high, where it's at, all that kind of stuff that I think may be effective to weight transfer, and we're gonna have fun with it. So let's build a turbo kit. Maybe down like that, then back up, then in. If we do it down this way to where that's like level straight across, and we can probably another 45 up. Luckily these pipes just slip together. Look at that, this side's done already. So we gotta put a V-band here and a V-band over there. I gotta be able to get that off. We'll come up and we'll go into this one somehow. One thing that a lot of folks do that I think people don't think about is wastegate placement. Wastegate placement is huge, especially we're gonna be using one big single wastegate. So what I wanna do is feed both of these pipes here, right? And then here at 90s up, where these pipes go straight in and then 90 up, we want to go straight in. That's where I want to put the wastegate. I want to put all the exhaust pressure on the wastegate, so we've always got the wastegate having the primary pressure, and that way we'll have the best control of pressure. I got a pro tip for you guys, for anybody wanting to do this at home. When you first tack something on, always try to go at least around 180 degrees from the other side, because what happens is as you introduce heat, it'll pull it one way or the other. A lot of you guys already know that, but for first timers out there, you'll start welding something and you'll be like, oh, I tacked it here, and then I, you know, put a little bump, bump, bump there, a little bead there, but then the bottom of the flange kicked all the way out because the heat pulled it all in. So I like to try to tack in a couple different locations to make sure it stays square and doesn't move, and then you can lay some more down. Oh man, this thing's been kicking my butt. Trying to get this merge right, kind of the way I want it, and it's a complex shape and a bend into another bend and everything else. We finally got it to the point where it's sitting pretty flush up here. Now I'm gonna take this apart. I mean, I guess we're at the point where we could start finish welding if we wanted to. Like, I could weld all this stuff all the way around and then cut out the part here where it's gonna merge. We got a V-band here, so this way it can come apart and that kind of section can go together. We can take the turbo off. It's gonna be probably a couple hours of just grinding and welding and fitting. Well, the fitting's done really, but just fitting that final piece there once we get it all wrapped up. Yeah, we're making progress. We have got not the most beautiful turbo kit in the world, but considering just using hand tools and going for it, that's what you guys need to do. Like, I know a lot of people, myself included, I got so hung up about doing this because I don't have the tools I need. I'm not going to be able to make it the most beautiful way that I want to make it, like the way I picture it in my head and the way it should look. But at the end of the day, it's going to get done, and your first one is going to be and your second one and third and fourth and fifth, and just get the experience in. So I'm going to weld some, I don't know, I think I'm just going to take this off. I need a welding table to like sit down. My back is killing me from leaning over this thing all the time. But we're wrapping it up. Let's get to welding. Alright, well, last night left off with a lot of welding left to do, and unfortunately throughout the night as I was welding, getting everything done, we ran out of gas. So today I went over, got some more gas, everything, but it did allow me to go ahead and start preparing some stuff, which I've already laid out today. As you can see, this is where our wastegate's going to go. We're going to choose to use one single, very large 60mm gate from VS Racing, and this is what they talk about when they talk about primary on a wastegate, right? So if you look at the way the air is going to come into here, it's going to be constantly pushing against the wastegate, and then it's going to go up into the turbo. So when people talk about having a primary location for your wastegate, this is the most primary that it could possibly be. And if you look in that hole, it's a straight shot in there. Boom. So that's going to work real nice. I got it fitted up and cut up. I might still have to trim this up a little bit and clean it up, but I got most of the stuff fitted and ready to go. So now it's time to start burning some stuff in. So I'm going to start with this wastegate, because now that it's tacked, I checked the wastegate location. It's going to work perfect. It's not going to be in the way of anything. I mean, today we have the very real possibility of the hot side being finished. There's really no reason it shouldn't. All I got left to do is just weld stuff together. So let's get to welding. Now I know what you guys might be thinking to yourselves. Matt, that looks like crap. Well, it does. If I had a TIG welder, I could have made it look nicer and better welds and blah, 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 blah. But I want to make a point here. I think part of the reason a lot of you guys watch my videos is because I'm just like you. I don't have a fancy shop. I don't got all the tools and equipment. I don't got everything I need. But what I want to stress here is don't let that discourage you from doing it. Because this right here, if it works, who cares about how it looks? Or, you know, that it wasn't done the best, or that I didn't quite get this merge exactly how I wanted. But you know what? If it makes the turbo spin and produces power and doesn't leak, then it doesn't matter. I think it's important to try to do things, because like I said before, you're never gonna get to your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth build that looks really great, blah blah, you got it all figured out until you do the first one. If you don't like it, sorry about your luck. Because I know there's gonna be people in the comments, oh, that looks like shit, you did a horrible job, why would you make one, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? I'm not gonna be able to hear you over the sound of this huge fucking turbo spooling right in front of my windshield, throwing flames everywhere and being a badass. That's what's important to me. So I'm gonna let this cool for like 15 minutes because it's really, really hot. And then I'll throw it all back together. We'll put the turbo. I sent my brother to go get a 5-inch exhaust. So we will go ahead and put this all together. Hopefully by then he'll either be back or very close to getting back. Because like I said, I don't want to mess with this. I already burned the crap out of my fingers once. We'll start working on the exhaust. From there, we can start figuring out, okay, now we're at the point. It's now Thursday, right? Today's Thursday afternoon. So we've got, I don't know, I could work for 8, 10, 12 more hours today. We're at the point of, are we really going to try to make a push for having this thing running and driving Saturday, or are we just going to slowly keep working our way, chipping away at it, whatever happens, happens. We got to do fuel system, ECU, cold side, install the air compressor and all that stuff, a whole mess of wiring. There's quite a few things that would have to be done for it to be raceable Saturday. I'm not really looking for it to be raceable Saturday. I'm looking to hopefully drive it on the trailer. Oh, and plus I gotta pull the entire engine out to put a different oil pan on it, or to put an oil pan drain in it for the turbo. So there's still quite a bit that needs to be done, but it ain't gonna stop me. We ain't got nothing else to do but work. Let's get to it. Exhaust test. Oh, too fast, too fast. There we go. Can't be wasting good gas. It's good gas. It's race fuel. This truck gonna go real fast now. Remember back in the day when everybody's like, oh, I put 93 octane in my stuff. I put 100 octane. It's gonna run so much better. But that was before we knew anything about cars and realized that if you just put fuel in your car, it doesn't make any difference. So if you're not giving it any more timing for the fuel, what does it matter? But back in the day, that was the hot ticket. Like, yeah, I got some 100
octane.
I put that 100 in there. My stuff's so fast now. I must have picked up like 2 whole seconds in the quarter mile.
I could feel the difference.
I could feel the yeah, I could feel the difference. Well, fun fact about Fool's Gold. We're about to do some work here. I'm gonna take this nitrous bottle out because we got something special going in its place. But everybody's always like taking pictures and mentioned or whatever. Like, I've had drawings done of us missing this rear marker light here. Fun fact, it's not actually missing. We do have it. It's in there. It just sits in the trunk because I don't have the proper bracket. I lost the bracket that it goes on. So if anybody knows where I can get one of those, we can put that marker light back in there. What's going in this spot in the trunk is we're going to make a few upgrades. Now, this is why it's key to buy parts as you can, stack them up, everything. Bam. We're going to go with onboard air compressor. And we're going to control the wastegate and boost pressure with onboard air. You can do onboard air, CO2. We did 3-port Mac valves, dual 3-port Mac valves on the Camaro and used compressor pressure, and it worked. You know, we were able to net 5-6 pounds down low, whatever the wastegate was, all the way up to I think it's peaked before at like 26, but we never ran at 26 so we didn't have enough fuel. We've got that problem solved too. So we'll do that, and then also we've got bada bing electronic shifter that I can now use with the Glide, because this one first is all the way back and then it clicks to second, whereas the Camaro you had to pull first, second, third, so we couldn't use one of these, but I've got one of these. So now I won't have to take either hand off the steering wheel to shift. I'll just be able to hold on. It'll shift itself. It's also a great tuning tool for consistency, because you can consistently shift the same every time, exactly the same RPM, all that. Also, you can change the shift, so if you're like, oh, well, I want to shift earlier, bam, good stuff. So essentially we're doing, I don't even know why we're doing this, but like we got onto this kick of like, let's turbo the Nova, and then I was like, oh, and then also let's do everything I've ever wanted to do to the turbo car and all the things that I learned about from the Camaro, let's do it all to the Nova. I don't know, maybe some stuff like the shifter, like that can wait. I can still shift manually, you know what I mean? But we've got it. The air compressor, all that can go in. I figured it would go in here nice and easy, and actually I think it's going to be really a good spot for it. Yeah, we can put the tank here, and put the compressor by the tank. Bada boom, bada bang. Nice clean placement. What I also like about having an onboard air system is you can set it up. We'll set it up and keep the chalk on it for filling up the rear tires. So we don't ever have to worry about like, oh, the battery on the thing, the pump is dead or whatever. We've got one right here. Still waiting for Nick to get back with this exhaust. Before I start jumping too deep into some of the next projects, I want to get that thing, at least all hot side stuff done. So all we have to do is put an exhaust on the turbo itself and put a pipe on the wastegate. I want to feed the wastegate into the exhaust on the turbo, but maybe not something that's going to happen just yet. It depends on what Nick got. If Nick got bends and everything else, I don't know what the guy had. So let's keep moving. That's going to look good. I think we could, should we extend it a little bit further back?
I mean, like,
I think we should extend it further back. Or we could just do totally ridiculous.
yeah. That's it. That's the one right there.
Is that it? We got a diesel truck now?
Yeah.
Diesel! I don't know, 5 inches on this pipe here.
So you get your bend about where the firewall is.
So we get the bend about where the firewall is. Yeah, about 4 or 5 inches will probably be right. Get that bend about there. The bend is different here. It goes up higher. Yes. But we'll do that. And then we can start tacking it all together, laying it out, see how it looks. And then we'll have an exhaust. And then I can drill a hole that everybody's going to get mad about and yell at me about for the O2 sensor, and we'll put the O2 sensor in there how I want.
Why are they going to yell at you about it?
Because of the way I'm going to put it in and how close to the turbo and blah, 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 and it's all wrong. And
heat and all that kind of stuff from the turbo. Gotcha.
Yeah, it is what it is. You guys have it. My masterpiece is coming together. We decided, since we've got the room for it, we're gonna go ahead and use 5-inch downpipe because we got the room for it, so why not? I was gonna originally shrink it to 4, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering, you know, we don't need to. Allegedly, the bigger the downpipe you get, the more power you can get out of it. So we've got our wastegate set up here. I'm gonna do a little trimming. I have to order another one of these pipes, because I think what we're gonna do is, I was thinking about bringing this down and doing another 90 up, so just running it like along the center line of the downpipe here. So we'll have wastegate come here, downpipe there, bam. Playing some of the positioning of, you know, how could we possibly get the cold side to connect there. Brad had made a suggestion, maybe, which would be really cool, is if we took like one of my other intakes, the carb intake, and either had it drilled and welded for injectors, or just get another one and then get like a, you know, 4500 throttle body and do like, because then it would be right in the center, and then we could just come straight, boom, over there. Maybe that would be pretty cool, but that's stuff we don't have. So I'm trying to use everything I've got, because I've got a very little budget to get this done, and this has just been months and months and months of stacking parts and saving parts and everything else to make this happen. So we will see, but I'm really liking how it's turning out. It's definitely going to be a crazy turbo setup, but it's got some purpose to it. You know, there's some rationale behind why I did some of the things I did. I'm really, as this comes together more and more and more, like, I'm really getting excited about it. And in a couple days, we've managed to build an entire hot side, get all that sorted. Literally, we are another piece of wastegate piping away, but just because I'm like, at this point, you know, we're so close to having something really cool looking, we might as well do that. I can wait a day. If I can order that thing now and they ship it today, if the warehouse in Pennsylvania has it, I'll have it here tomorrow. So, and we've got a lot of boring stuff to do. I got to start figuring out fuel system wiring, the air compressor, everything. What I would like to see happen is me get a bunch of that work done, and then this way we can maybe in the next video be firing up something like that. I'm really looking forward to hearing this thing. The thing that sucks is, now that all this is done, It's all got to come apart again because the engine has to come out. I got to put a different oil pan on it, all that kind of stuff. So there's still a whole lot of work to be done that I don't know we're going to get done. Where this thing's probably not going to race this weekend unless I take all this apart and then just go back to carb nitrous, which I have set up. What would you do? Like if you were me, you guys were watching this video at home, right? We are this close. We have got it coming together. Like I think we should just see this through to the end. I think that would make me happier because like I said, the one combination that I've always wanted a turbo LS in this Nova, and it's never happened. And what better way to do it than the most obnoxious way possible, I think is really going to be the winner. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, tuning in, doing the damn thing. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to this thing because I was talking to Derek. So Derek is, you know, slower than you. He's going to be doing all the initial setup and initial base tuning of this thing and everything to get us up and running and operational. We were talking last night. There's no pressure. Like I know that this is not a low 5-second car. That's fine. There's no expectation. There's no nothing. I know that this thing will go faster than what it has gone on a 200 shot of nitrous. How fast? I don't know. But there's no, I don't have any unreasonable expectation of it. I don't, you know, I just want to do it. And it's actually been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying putting it all together, you know, seeing it all come to life. And so this is the way to do it. And like I said, if the big block pops up and is ready and we decide that we want to put it in here, then we will do that. My whole game plan and what I think would be really nice is I listed the Camaro for sale. If we could get rid of the other one, we could take that money, we could take the big block, the 400 trans, the biggest, best motor we have, the what should be the strongest transmission we have, and the best chassis we have, and then we'll slowly start putting that thing together. But in the meantime, this will be a riot and a lot of fun. And I think the suspension, the chassis, it works very well. No prep, back half of the track, street stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys. Let me know what you think. Is this the best idea I've ever had or the worst idea I've ever had? This is the shit I love. And I love doing YouTube and everything else because then when we go to events and stuff, and I get to meet people and we get to talk about stuff. And this is definitely going to draw people in. Like, they're definitely going to be like, what is this rusty Nova with a turbo sticking out the hood with a 5-inch stack? Maybe one day for something funny, like we'll do a huge stack or something. I'll take the rest of the 5-inch and stack it all the way up, and we'll do like diesel stuff. We'll just dump a bunch of fuel in it. And we should do that. I should try to sneak in, because I do the ODSS, the diesel races. We should try to sneak into a diesel race. We'll have to buy, like, if somebody's got a horribly damaged fiberglass hood that like we could cut
throw on it.
Yeah, just to like, so we could cover up the LS part, but just have the giant.
It's a turbo stack. Like, I mean, it's got to be diesel, right?
I'll be like, Derek, yo, we need a blow and smoke tune. How do we blow black smoke and like con them into thinking that it's a diesel? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. It's been an awesome time. I'm gonna send Brandon off to edit. I'm gonna start on some of the boring work that needs to be done. And then we'll have another video hopefully within the next couple days or so. We are going to go to the racetrack Saturday and do race coverage of the No Prep in Delaware because it's an hour and a half from home and we never have it. And it looks like there's going to be a big turnout. Another surprise, a friend of mine might be coming. I think he's really looking hard at coming and he asked me to crew for him. So maybe, I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're local, should I bring this on a trailer just to display? Like, we'll just bring it and have it out there so you guys can see in person and you know, talk crap about it and all that kind of stuff. But he asked me to crew for him, so we'll do that. But we're going to be providing race coverage, and then I'll keep working on this to get it to the point of being done. Do that. We'll just start doing some of the initial tuning. Derek said, hey, because I got to give credit to Derek, like with the Camaro. I did not give him enough time and proper, like, hey, here's a few hours where I can just drive this thing around. Derek's really big about like the drivability aspect, all that kind of stuff we hadn't really nailed down, and then changing combinations and motors and cams and blah blah blah. We hadn't really nailed it down yet, and I didn't really care because I let off, you know, the full throttle, let go of the button stuff was good, but you know, bunch of the other stuff wasn't. And I know he wants to do that because he wants to show a good presence when we're driving through the staging lanes. It don't sound like shit. Like sometimes the Camaro just acted funny and blah blah blah. And it wasn't. That was a my fault thing. That wasn't a him tuning fault. That was I just didn't give him the time and opportunity and make it a priority. So I know he's gonna want to do that with this, especially since we have such a radical cam in here that's really not meant for turbo stuff. Maybe I'll see if we can change that, who knows. But it's coming together, baby. It's coming together.